Hello there. What's up, y'all? Brace for Impact, Y50 plus Creative Rebels chose Forge, and you should too. Before we close the gates, thank you so much for being here in advance. Those who will show up along the way, we like to keep a lively chat around here. So definitely, drop in your name and handle there in the chat as you see this. And yeah, we're about to get into things. Appreciate you again for making time out of your busy day to join us, to be a part of this experience and Block Party and new path forward throughout ecosystem and community and togetherness. So all right, so we're about to get into this thing. I don't want to take too much of your time, and let me just put what I need to on my screen real quick. Okay, there we go. So you all should be able to see my screens. And if you can't, like, Robin will let me know. She's our CSC, our community success champion. She's here with me in the chat. All right. So brace for impact. Again, Y50 plus Creative Rebels chose Forge, and you should too. We're celebrating the closing of our public gates and about to get into some fun things in our own ecosystem, but wanted to give y'all some insights on what we've been doing, future community, and moving forward as we're going through the 2025 and onward. Okay, so I'd love to know as folks start hopping in, what are you going to be letting go of tomorrow that is no longer serving you today? Um, often often we go through these periods and these seasons where after we assess something we realize that it's not necessarily something that we need to add on to our habits, our routines, but it's often things that we may need to let go of. So I invite you to answer that question at some point throughout this, and we'll take a look, and we'll go through a period, I would say, of recognizing that and acknowledging what it's time to let go of. All right. So on the agenda today, we're going to talk about what a creative entrepreneur is, three things Forge does differently than others, communities that serve versus platforms that unnerve, why community is now more crucial than ever before, and then we'll get into some prizes for our raffle winners who are here live and stay to the end. And so definitely to be eligible for that, you're going to interact into the chat. You have to. Again, we like to turn this into more of a dialogue rather than a lecture, and we want to have fun with this, right? So definitely, that increases your chances. So definitely hop in there, and we'll have fun that way as well. All right, so I access to everyone here, and when this is recorded as well, what if you could be yourself and flourish and grow beyond your comfort zone? If you had that opportunity, what would you take that? Would you be willing to access that? And you don't have to chime in the chat on this right now, but that's something I want you to think about as we go through things together today. If you could be yourself completely and utterly, and if you could flourish and grow beyond your own comfort zone, if you had a system designed to help you do that, would you take that chance? All right. So some of you know a little about me. Some of you know a lot about me, but for those who don't, so I'm Darnell. I'm a creative polymath community builder, and I specialize in digital branding, marketing, and storytelling. I've been doing this for over 17 years. These are a few of the brands here on the screen that I've worked with over the last 17 years, a few of the bigger brands, and some of them I still work with today. I always like to get into the troubles that I had before where I am at this point in time, and rewind the clock back to 2008 when I couldn't get hired anywhere else, and I was trying to ascend because I had already reached the top level of where I could already be at this promotional products firm, and nobody was hiring. And one day I just said, okay, I'm just going to bet on myself. But it was a little bit foolish because I didn't have any savings or lines of credit or anything. And I really just backed myself into a corner and had a lot of hubris, all of those things as well, too. So I had a bunch of student debt and came out with courses not too long ago, maybe around the 5 or 7 year mark from not too long ago. And then it took me a while before I had my first hit. So um, yeah, those were some hard times kind of going through things. And some of y'all could may relate to that of trying to get out there and bet on yourself, even though all the financial advisors tell you you should have some runway before you decide to do stuff like that. And some of my bullseyes after I had went through that tumultuous period, serving over 300 clients in the last 17 years, like me personally doing work for them, done for you and done with you work. Ended up getting to that fifth course and having my biggest hit. Ended up launching Forge as an experiment and kind of a hobby in 2023. Was a top 30 over 30 winner. Again, I have 17 years as a creative entrepreneur, so many ups and downs through that period of time, and helped launch Band-Aid's Outone product for people of color. So these are some feathers in my cap that I'm pretty proud of. And I always like to preface these by giving you some of those insights. All right, so moving right along, you're in the right place if you want to grow your email list, your business, and or your marketing beyond its current status. You're in the right place if you've plateaued or are burned out or are ready to overcome some of those hurdles that you have been going through. If you want to join a community full of diverse creators and people who will have your back in this entrepreneurial jungle, you're in the right place. If you're trying to become a full-time creator but need some footprints to follow. I know some of y'all out here side hustling and stuff, and I had to too when I first got into the game back in 2008. And I was a delivery driver, dropping off food and things, and so that was I did that for a few months, but that was more of the side hustle than me trying to get hired for like my first logo project all those moons ago. Anyway, you're in the right place if you're searching for an ecosystem to which you can turn to with questions, ideas. And you're in the right place if you're tired of going at it alone and want some accountability by a collective of your peers. So let us know in the chat, and Robin can chime in later or here in the chat if she wants to as well. But like, which one of these most represent where you are at this given time in your career as a creative entrepreneur? Where are you at? I'd love to know. So just drop one of those numbers in here. Like, definitely don't be shy. We are all about vulnerability around these parts. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. I was one of these at several different points in my journey. All right. So let me just quickly get you up to speed on how Forge got started, because this is important to where we're going with things. So I had this idea to build a community off the back of my last course back in 2023. So roughly 2 years ago, almost. I talked to several of my creative entrepreneurial peers to see what they thought about community through that point in time. What did they like about where they were? What didn't they like? I cataloged all of that into a Notion document. And then I was researching these different community building platforms. I knew it couldn't be on Facebook. I knew it couldn't be on Discord or on Slack or anything. No disrespect to those who run their communities on those places, but I knew in my mind, I was like, this has to be something just distraction free, because it's too much going on. And with those Facebook communities, you can see all of these other communities that you're in and you get notifications and things. So I knew I needed to be quiet, did some research, made a decision to hop into Circle. So that's the platform that is powering Forge. Signed up for a 2-week trial. And I said, I'm going to give myself 2 weeks. If I can brand this entire ecosystem during a 2-week trial, if I can do that, and I made it a private thing to myself, like a private pledge. If I can do that, then I would take the next step in my journey. I started with internal validation versus external. And I attached no other metrics beyond that, can I do what I say that I'm gonna do to myself? And if I can't, I'm gonna stop here. So I ended up I said, let me just make the place look good. Like, let's make it look like a playground, make it look fun, well-designed, organized. I got design background. This should be a walk in the park. So I ended up doing that. And then I paid Circle $199 and I said 30 days. If I can get other people to join this community, at least one other person, then it's worth going on. Like I'm willing to lose that. And I had no time to do it. I was already operating at like 200% bandwidth, busy with clients, busy with other initiative, books, podcasting. And because y'all know creatives, y'all know how we get. And you need to drop an emoji in the chat if this is you, if this sounds like you. And Robin told me about manifesting generators. We get these ideas for stuff, and then we act on them because we can't help ourselves, even though we already got way too much going on. So Forge was born out of that. It was just like, I got to do it. So anyway, that gives you some game on how we got started with things, and kind of the rest is history from that point. All right. So some of the milestones include us landing our first 5 members in that first month. So remember when I told you I invested $199, and I said, just if I get one other person, now it's a community. After I did that, we reached our first 5 members, and we've since crossed 50 members. And again, it's been nearly 2 years. So this is very slow growth. But one thing, and you see me share about this a lot on LinkedIn, is like, just because it's small doesn't mean it can be micro, but it can be a mighty thing as well. So I'm like very intentional and deliberate with what we share about the ecosystem and making sure that it's a great fit and stuff for people. And so we ended up making Circle's short list of platinum communities 7 months after launching, which was based on engagement metrics. And they interviewed me for some things, and I'm in their report that was shared in 2024. And lastly, some of our members have made their investment in Forge back multiple times over. So this stuff works. If you show up, if you act on what you need to, and you implement and you get the work done, like this stuff works. So it ends up paying for itself. So these are some milestones I wanted to share with you, and feel free to take a screenshot if you'd like. All right, so moving along. Firstly, what is a creative entrepreneur? I do get this question often from people who might not identify that way. And I think it's important because being an entrepreneur is already a broad umbrella. Creative entrepreneurs is a broad umbrella too. And I personally believe that we all have creativity in us. In fact, creativity is accessible to us all, like whenever we want it. And so when I call myself this, or when I think about why I would use that term, or the people that we're trying to attract, it's broad. But I wanted to get crystal clear on, okay, like, who would this include? So firstly, this is me personally. I define a creative entrepreneur as a business owner who produces original works, original content with integrity, with finesse, even if they're remixing from existing content. So like, imagine a person using a Canva template and designing something new out of this, like I did for this very slide deck. You can be a DJ, you can remix things into original ways and still be that. So creative entrepreneurs can include, and they do include, consultants, coaches, strategists, marketers, craftspeople, generalists, fractionals like me, developers, coders, videographers, photographers, designers, filmmakers. So I put all of that in that same bucket. And obviously, you work for yourself to some degree, you're self-employed, or you own a business. This matters because you don't have to be a designer or a visual artist to be a creative entrepreneur or to join Forge. As long as you are a crafts person, you do what you do with pride and integrity. You do original things, even if it's just working with words or you putting together slide decks. I define that as, okay, you're creative and you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. So consider joining us. And so I'd love to know in the chat here, before defining it this way, if you identify as a creative entrepreneur too. I'm guessing most of y'all do for RSVPing for this event in the first place, but you can never be too sure. But just a show of hands, just dropping an emoji if you identify as a creative entrepreneur. And again, if you're a coach, consultant, for those that are just now joining us, strategists, marketers, designers. We come in so many different flavors. So that's why creative entrepreneur is a broad spectrum. Now, Forge has these three main sandboxes when we talk about what differentiates us. And the first one is cross pollination. Y'all have heard me use this word a lot over the last couple of years. Might be even pretty tired of it, but when I looked at the definition of it, because I thought it was important too, like from like Webster and them, it was talking about influence amongst these diverse elements and interchanging knowledge and ideas for mutual benefit. So ecosystem like. And in Forge, we cross pollinate, and that becomes this rising tide that lifts all of our ships because it's for mutual benefit. Not expecting any reciprocity, but it's just what happens when your orbits collide. So, an example would be like if Robin, our community success champion, and I were both doing the exact same thing. Let's say we were both creative polymaths and we designed, we had the exact same stuff. But because we don't know of each other until we come into a place like Forge, like she and I could be doing the same thing, serve the same clients, but she may go through periods where she has overflow and I'm going through periods where I have slumps, but they're in the same season. Just as an example, in the month of July, business like goes down slow for me. For Robin, it increases for some reason. And when her and I get in the same virtual room together and we recognize that, we can say, oh, well, snap, like there's more than enough to go around. There will always be more problems than problem solvers. So firstly, we're going to come from a place of abundance and say, well, man, now Robin knows that July for me is like super slow. Now she has someone to recommend business to when she has a wait list going on and her clients don't want to wait for her because like she'd be doing them a disservice every time that she has no place to send them. But because her and I chopped it up, we recognize that we saw what one another does. Why wouldn't we cross pollinate in that way and be available for one another as we go through those peaks and valleys? That's just one example, right? We also are about co-creation. So teamwork, collaboration, combining insights to produce something unique and new. And an example is like when, and this has happened in the past, two forgers. So for the uninitiated, members of Forge, we just call them forgers. If two forgers come together and they produce a workshop that is respective of their skills and their interests and create something wholly unique, and they bring that outside of this, such as in a LinkedIn event, this has happened and stuff before. So recognizing that, okay, you might have congruent interests and skills with people. So what happens when you mix those different kind of chemical energies and stuff together to produce something new? We're not selfish in Forge. We're like, yo, Robin got something coming out, like let's all amplify it. No reciprocity required. And it's not even a question, right? So cross-pollination, co-creation. The third thing is curiosity. I lead with this in my life. I bring that energy inside of Forge, like those fingerprints are all over the place. But it's this genuine interest in problem solving and ideas and people, and a willingness to satiate that hunger to get the data or the insights that we need. So it's not just having the curiosity, but the willingness to act on that, the willingness to ask questions, right? The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask is an idiom that I've heard over the years. So one thing about this is like when you're in these smaller communities, in these micro communities, you do feel a little bit more comfortable to perhaps show facets of your personality and your work that you don't feel comfortable doing on larger social media platforms. And when you do that, when you open up in that way, okay, and you invite us to share, you invite us to give insights, that lifts all boats right there. And that's a beautiful thing. And we are all about these three things: cross-pollination, co-creation, curiosity. When you care enough about the company that you keep, you find out what's bothering your peers, and you notice what's in their blind spots. We can share valid insights with one another, and everyone wins. No one loses. So that's the beautiful thing, if that makes sense. Robin, how we looking in the chat? I'm purposefully avoiding it because what is it called? Like, I guess I'm right brained and stuff a little bit, but I appreciate y'all joining. Thank y'all for now joining as well here. Continue to engage in the chat. Again, we have raffle prizes for those who stay to the end, who show up live. So please continue to let us know you are in the building. We love to see it. Okay. Moving right along, what if you had a transparent and lively ecosystem community that helps you forge your creative and entrepreneurial identities? If y'all are following me on LinkedIn, y'all have seen me talk about this a long time ago. The grand experiment that we're under in here is like, how do we align and integrate our creative identities with our entrepreneurial ones? Because everyone here right now, I believe that we got the creative stuff in the bag. We're not Behance or like Dribble where we're trading portfolios and stuff right now. This is about how do we do better business? How do we create empathetic businesses and be completely ourselves and build businesses that like satisfy our lives and stuff? And the beautiful thing is, like, no one has a monopoly on what that answer is. It's so subjective. But if you're in an ecosystem and it contains, like, you start cross-pollinating, these ideas start sparkling off. So what if you had that? If you don't right now, if you had something that helped you forge those two halves into one so that these didn't feel like two different sides of the coin, like, oh, I got to go create something, or these I'm working with clients that aren't aligned with my values, but it pays the bills. No, these two things do not have to be mutually exclusive. And I will always believe that. So shout out to, and I don't know if she's here or not, but she's an entrepreneur. Her name is Sammy Valadez. She shared something a few months ago talking about people in the community have 2 to 3 times higher success rate in reaching their goals compared to those who are not in a community. So your chances of reaching your goals increase. This is the power of community, especially when it's tight knit versus trying to do it all alone. I should know. I spent 15-ish of the last 17 years head in the sand, self-imposed entrepreneurial island, thinking that, man, nobody's going through it this way. Nobody that looks like me, born when I guess I'm a millennial at this point, born in 84. For those who are those 80s babies, let us know in the chat if you're a millennial baby, by the way, or an 80s baby. So anyway, had the head down, and just like, next thing you know, you look up, 15 years have passed. I don't want you to go through that, especially if you're earlier in your journey than me. Get you some accountability. Get in an ecosystem where you can flourish, as Robin's word of the year is, where you can blossom and grow while still being yourself. A community that serves versus platforms that unnerve. So, community that serves, all about leading from the back. Me personally, I want to serve them. I got a lot of insights to share from over 15 years, and it's impossible to put that all into the last 2 years, but I'm all about serving versus negativity, versus draining you, versus you coming into something and being like, oh, well, what is this about? And not feeling good. Because according to recent surveys, 78% of creative entrepreneurs feeling digital fatigue, feeling dissatisfaction, just in 2025, 78%. So decreased organic reach, right? These algorithm changes, we're not even getting into the mental health of it all. 78% just in 2025 alone. Personally, I believe that we struggle to find fulfillment in our work as creatives because alone we got this deep fear of failure. We are also not that great at running our businesses. especially when we're going at it alone. That's just not what we do. The creative stuff comes easy, probably. We enjoy it, but running a business, capitalist countries, taxes, all of these things, like these are learned stuff. Whereas creativity, you can access, you always had it ever since you were younger. Our creative and entrepreneurial identities are misaligned and constantly fighting for which one is going to get the attention. Which one do I serve today? So me personally, I can make things look pretty effortless from the creative side, but entrepreneurially, for most of the last 17 years, my expenses have exceeded my income. So there's a disconnect there. That's the entrepreneurial side. That is the administrative stuff. That's bookkeeping. That's accounting. That's billing clients and stuff on time. That's net 30 terms. Things that, again, you got to learn. But when you jump out there young and you don't have role models, you're just hoping that the creative stuff carries you. And it will for a time, but you will burn out and you'll be stunning your own growth. So it wasn't until launching Forge and through community empowered experiences that I recognized my own shortcomings. And now I have multiple ways to solve it, because to solve those shortcomings, because of all of the other orbits, all the other worlds of people who I'm colliding with, who teach me every day, who help me become a better person, who challenge me. And that's what I wanted as well, too. We're a community of co-equals. They're all my co-equals. So I learn from them. And I hope that they do for me. I hope that it's reciprocated in that way. So again, for those here listening, let us know in the chat. One of the grandest experiments that we're on is aligning and integrating those two identities, because there needs to be joy in what we do, and we need to be financially good without one being at the expense of the other. That's an experiment. That's a journey. We may never have all of the answers with that, but as the seasons change and as we evolve as people, we can attain what I call fulfillment, where the creativity and the entrepreneurial stuff is in like perfect balance. There's harmony going on. So when that happens, however ephemeral, at least we've attained it. And once we do, we can sustain it from that point. The magic of harnessing a fulfilling life as a creative entrepreneur is not in the hands of any single person, especially and including myself. It's in those spaces between spaces, and it is accessible to us all. Those spaces in between spaces, those are the nuances. Those are the one-to-one chats, the people that check in on you that want nothing at all. No one's trying to sell you on anything. They may be just trying to keep you accountable for what you said that you were going to do, and that's it. And in those spaces, like, we become a little bit more fulfilled. We learn more about ourselves, right? So, sorry, no apologies. Actually, I can go deep and stuff sometimes, but it's important. I take this stuff seriously. I'm very passionate about it, and I hope that's coming through. Because while social media kind of conditions us to value vanity metrics and grow addicted to their platforms and fall into these comparison traps, Forge is all about, well, what are our lives are like when we focus on the relationships and interactions beyond the ones that we find on social media, right? So we don't want you to be addicted to Forge. We don't want you to be focused on vanity metrics or comparing yourself to other people, and they're like, this is not that. So maybe it's kind of anti-social platform in some ways, but if you're tired of that, like, we got you. Like, this is for you, 1000%. Just going to go through, and you can take a screenshot, but I won't read these all the way through. But one of our members, got some results really quickly, just a month in. And she shared this with us. You can screenshot that if you'd like. Megan as well, too. She's one of our day ones. And she said this on a video testimony she given recently. and she likes all of these different things that we bring to the community, these different flavors, the guest speakers, the trainings, the events. It's a lot somewhat, but it also feels like just what you need at the time because it's just accessible. It's hard to explain. And one of our members told me the other day that Forge is one of those things. It's like once you experience it, like talking about it doesn't do it justice, but at least I'm allowing other people to tell you what they think about it and stuff on these screens. And another member, gardening with care. I do treat it like an ecosystem, a walled garden somewhat, and you're trying to tend to them and trying to get the roots and plants and stuff that you want and not have any weeds and things in there. But I invite everyone who is there and those of you who end up joining us to be a part of this. I look at it like I had to pick a wall, and my job was to find this and to put some paint strokes on there to get people started. But everyone else who comes in puts their own brush strokes. And at the end of this experiment, we'll step back and look at what a wonderfully imperfect and messy mosaic that we've created together, not just through me, right? So community is more crucial than ever before because with a gazillion ways to connect in 2025, in any part of the world, why are we still more lost than ever right now? All of these ways to connect, but no one's connected. I feel like we are all longing for genuine experiences and connections with values aligned people. We want to live joyous lives. We don't want to be worried or concerned or be depressed. We need happiness. We need fulfillment. We bring that to other people through the work that we do in our creativity, and we deserve a little bit of that for ourselves as well. In this AI infused world where it's hard to tell what's what, like genuine and sincere humanity is a rarity. Forge brings you like the best of humanity, the best of what we could be when we interact with each other, when we are creative, when we are abundant, and we just share, we give freely. That's kind of the best of what we could be. Community brings together the best and brightest among us, because when we harness that power of deep presence, of intentionality, y'all, I'm telling you, we can move mountains. And I know nothing beats meeting people in real life right now for just largely a virtual community. But we're changing that. I believe it's going to be a hybrid community where we have some in-person chapters, and we're going to be doing our first retreat this year, multi-day retreat. So yeah, like you could be a part of that and stuff as well. That's going to be really exciting. I've been on the other side of this screen for this long, and it's going to be great to meet some of the people who have remained throughout this point in time, and maybe those who will return. And so you can be a part of that as well. And I wanted to give you that option. Community has the power to change us, to challenge us, and to comfort us. Forge is at the center of that dynamic. Comfort is good, but we also don't grow there. But we do need safe harbor at times. We need a charging station. We need to get some new energy, get some ecosystem energy, and before we get back to our proceedings. So it's comfort in that way. But we are changing, we are developing, and we are challenged. We step up to the plate and we challenge ourselves, right? So community has that power. I don't know that social media does, where it challenges you and changes you, at least in ways that you like, right? But community does. What things may be like for you now? You could be on this lonely journey. You could be directionless and having busyness and workflows that are distracted. You might be in a season where there's some inertia going on, where you're not enthused to meet new people. You might not even been that enthused to show up here, or maybe you were. You could be passively participating in the communities that you're in, Like you show up, you go through the motions, you're on autopilot. Things could be like that for now. And if that's you, like I invite you to mention that. If you don't feel comfortable, like do think about that though. Do any of these describe you at this given point in time? But soon they will be like you being on an empowered journey, a community empowered journey with other people with thoughtful design, way fewer distractions, accountability, forward progress only. You'll be inspired to connect with people. It's not showing up and going through the motions and being on autopilot. You'll be an active participant. And people participate in their own ways. It's not showing up to every event. It's not consuming every new thing that comes out. It's not being hyper extroverted. We all got our own ways in how we participate and actively engage or get what we need to out of our ecosystem, because a lot of us are introverts and stuff in that way. And it takes us time to get used to people, right? So Forge defines, it helps us define what fulfillment looks and feels like for each of us through these community empowered prompts and events and tools and experiments, no matter the season that you're in. Fulfillment, y'all. True fulfillment is when your creative life and your entrepreneurial life, and even your personal one, are all in sync and everything is harmonious. You do work that you love doing, you make the impact that you like making, and you are paid handsomely. You're not out here fishing and stuff too much. You're attracting and pulling in. We are all on our own journeys with that in this community, but everyone is growing in that way. We're thinking about things in a new light, and we all want that fulfillment, right? Forge, it gives you this candor, the accountability, the connection with these values aligned, high vibe people who are at these various stages in their own businesses. And what this does is this creates an intentionally curated atmosphere that is more comprehensive than, okay, we only want to attract creative entrepreneurs who are 15 years in their business. That's not what we do in Forge. No matter where you are on the timeline, aspiring all the way to veteran, seasoned with it, you could just be coming out. I still got something to learn from you, even if you just started today. And everyone else in Forge does. Because everyone that you meet knows something that you don't. And when we approach life from that angle, like I'm telling you, people will blow your mind. Like you'll be looking at kids and stuff play in the playground or over at your friend's house, or even your own kids, and see the way that they are interacting with the objects and things around them, how they're pretending to be superheroes and stuff. And it might unlock a gem for your branding business. But if you're not open to those possibilities, you won't go through that. So you got to challenge your notions. You got to open some things up and say, well, just because a person looks differently than me, or they had a different beginning, or they didn't have access to the same tools and resources, they don't have the accolades, that automatically makes them worth less than you. I never wanted Forge to be that. Foundationally, it's just like day one, you could be an aspiring creative entrepreneur. You are my co-equal. No questions asked. We're a soulful peer-to-peer ecosystem. Some members don't attend all of our live events. They prefer to engage with people one-on-one. Some don't. We don't see them on the outside of the community that much, but it doesn't mean that they're not consuming what they need to on their own time. Some like to be tagged on things that we think that they might fancy. We all come in different flavors. And that's the one thing about Forge, is it respects you. And we don't say, okay, every member needs to be and interact at the same way, you know? And that's why I don't know if we'll ever do something like a leaderboard, because yeah, it's good to have friendly competition, but interactions and the way what we do in the community, like we communicate beyond just our words. We communicate with our mannerisms. We might communicate just from a piece of art that we design for people. So how do we, what are the metrics for that? Anyway, the whole point is aspiring, season, no matter how you engage, no matter what season that you're in, I want you to think about Forge in that way. I asked you earlier, what if you could be yourself, flourish, and grow beyond your own comfort zone? right? So for those of you just now coming in, this was something that I asked at the top. What if you had that opportunity? And now that I've given you these different insights, 78% of creative entrepreneurs being basically pissed off with social media, or too distracted, or these metrics that don't matter. What if you can instead grow beyond your own comfort zone, because we know that's where the growth is, and then you flourishing and you're able to be yourself completely and utterly and unapologetically? Would you want to be a part of something like that? So with Forge, you get instant access to all of this. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm too respectful of your time, but you can screenshot this for later if you need to. But these are just some of the things. It's like, I don't know, 42 approximately other things that we do here, but these are the big ones. Accountability matters a lot to the folks in there, is from what I'm hearing. The design of things, how quiet it is, so to speak, from a distraction-free standpoint, how comprehensive it is. We can host our own one-to-one meetings there. We can send audios back and forth that are longer than 1 minute long. So if to some of you who like sending audio messages here on this platform and have done that, like, you know how it is with those 1 minute limits. We don't have those inside of Forge. And we can go live and stuff at any time that we need to, or join our own audio rooms, or our Pomodoro co-working sessions. You can get instant access to all of those things. $49 a month. Peer-to-peer, mastermind-like vibes, because we're co-equals, but we're not priced like a mastermind at all. You're welcome. That's hyper affordable. And you get 7 days. Your first 7 days are on me. Unlimited access throughout that entire time. I invite you to check it out. Gates close this Sunday, a couple days from now. They've been open for a while, for most of this year, but it's time to get back to tending to our walled garden on this island. So I'm gonna have Robin to drop in our link for you to check it out, to learn more for yourself. Again, no obligations. 7 days, try for yourself, see it. You might be a fellow community builder yourself. You could look at it objectively if you want to. Okay, well, this is how Forge looks. This is how he's doing things. Like, you could just look at it from that standpoint. It could be a crash course on designing something, even if it's for that angle. But you need to see it for yourself. Most people say that about it, like, get in there with rooms, not with me, not with just my way of doing things, but with the people who have been around, who know the system, who know ecosystem, our community, our ecosystem inside and out, who meet regularly, who probably chat way more often than I think that they do and how often I see them. Those are the people that it's worth rubbing shoulders with. Some of the most beautiful, authentic, selfless people on the planet. I want that in my life, Forge or not. But the fact that I get to basically hang out with friends and peers every week, multiple times, I'm growing. It inspired me to put this together. It inspired me to share this with you. DarnellBrown.com/Forge. 7-day trial. You can check it out. If you've already made a decision and you all in on this thing, Robin, you can go ahead and send people the in the chat. You can drop in the direct link to where they can go to. Pick something that works for you. If you like it, stick around. If you don't, peace out. It's not for you. No hard feelings, but check it out for yourself so that you don't live with regret. There's no telling when we're going to reopen the gates. It could be in December this year. It could be sometime next year, but we never keep our gates all the way open. I talked about why on LinkedIn. So if this is a season for you where you're going through what we talked about earlier, where you're in burnout or you're stuck in inertia, accountability, get some in your life. Get some co-working done in your life. Get some insights from people who will look in your blind spots and know, okay, boom, automatically, well, what could change something for you? We're all in periods of transitions, are we? Aren't we? None of our businesses are going perfectly. So everyone here is struggling with something. Are you going to answer that call? Raffle time for those who have been engaging, those who have hopped in the chat. Robin, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna bring you back on the screen so we can talk about this real quick. Okay.
Oops. All right. I do have a raffle wheel going, so
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna
Okay,
read
cool.
out the names of those who were like live and engaging, and if I miss your name, then drop it in the chat right away so we can include you. This is for those who were live with us. So we had Lee, Carol, Melanie, Marisol, Meg, Crimbine, Mohammed, Ahmed, Charlie, Lapamardo, and Michaela Martin. So if I missed anybody, let me know, drop it in.
Okay. Okay, cool. So we're gonna pick two winners, and each one of y'all are gonna get a $25 gift card to shop at a retailer of your choice, or give to a charity if you want to go that route. You'll get a 14-day complimentary pass to Forge as well. And we have a little bit of swag to offer as well. We have a hard, how do we call it? A hardcover notebook. And Robin, could you show them what that looks like? Because you have one
I
too.
use this all the time. I'm using it today. It's like I love it
And it's
so
like,
much.
I think it's 80 pages, and it has a little strap thing on
I've
there
got the
too.
little strap to keep
Oh,
it
okay.
confined. It's really nice. It's very sleek.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So two of y'all are going to win these things. Again, $25 gift card, 14-day complimentary pass to Forge. That's 1 week longer than we're offering everyone else. And you're going to get a copy of this hardbook cover, regardless of whether or not you stay. All right. So, Robin, I'm going to have you do it in a second. But lastly, your mission, should you choose to accept it, Ethan Hunt, is to make Forge a priority in your professional life, at least throughout that 2-week period. So, as a winner, you are making a digital handshake with me and the other members that you're going to invest energy in going from inaction to action in some area of your biz, because we don't want any tire kickers on the fences. Take this seriously, and no one is going to respect you more than I will if you say, okay, well, I won, but I'm just not in a season where I can dedicate to this right now. But I've given you a lot to chew on, so maybe just maybe that if you're in a season where you can't, it could be time for a change. All right. So what we got, Robin?
yeah, and I just want to give my own plug real quick. So I actually Darnell had done one of these block parties when I joined, and that's how I first learned about Forge. I was on LinkedIn, and so I was watching, listening, engaging, and I ended up winning the raffle, and I won a trial membership. And I'd reached out to Darnell. I was in New Zealand at the time and said, "Hey, I was like, I want to go about this differently than I have in the past." Because in the past, it's like, you get in you win something, and then if you're not there at the time, then you kind of lose sight of it. And so I was very intentional and told him, I was like, I'm very interested in this. I think it's what I need. And can I delay my start a little bit? So I delayed it by a month, and it was awesome. And I haven't looked back since. That was like 15, 16 months ago. Now I'm like a community success champion for Forge. And I will say, like, I've said this many times in the container, but if I had had this when I started my business, it would have been a game changer. So it's like I was paying $2,600 a month in a mastermind and not getting like the same level of engagement and interaction that I get in Forge. And for $49 a month, it's like insane to me. So often I'm like, how? But anyway, just wanted to give my own plug there that it's really an incredible space, and we really attract amazing people. So
Yeah, I love that. And in honor of that, super quick, in real time, if someone is in a similar boat as you were, Robin, at that point in time, hey, I want this gift, but I'm not in a season where I could use it for whatever reason. Give me an exact date that when you will be, and we'll honor that. Right, Robin? We should. We did for you. Okay. All right. So who
All right. I
who are our
missed,
winners?
I muted, so you didn't get to hear the cheering, but we have a winner. It is Charlie, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name, Charlie, but Lapamardo. So drop in. We'll reach out to you.
Yes, yes, we will. So
Oh, and we've got two, right? We have two, so that's one. So I do one more. Okay, hold on.
we'll do one more, and if it ends up being someone who's already in Forge, they can choose to pass that along to someone else or take it for themselves. Obviously, with the pass element, I'll probably give them a month or something like that versus because they're already a member. But they could accept those other gifts on behalf of themselves, or they can nominate someone else in the future. So just wanted to put that out there for our existing members. I got to look out for them too. Definitely got to.
All right. The next raffle winner that we have is Melanie Marisol, who Melanie was one of our guest experts this past month in Forge.
I love it. I love it. I know both of them. I know both of them. So, man, serendipity, fairy dust everywhere. I love it. So, okay, yeah, I know them, and but we'll get your help, Robin, on getting where we need, getting their addresses and stuff, so that way we can send them what they are going to get. And congratulations to y'all for staying, for chopping it up in the chat and winning these prizes. So, lastly, before we go, and I know we went a little bit longer, but thank y'all for staying through this point in time. Robin, did we have any questions that you had that you didn't get to address in the chat here? Or was it all okay? So we good. All right. So we're good. I only had one on my side that came in, and so I'll just go through that super quickly. But essentially, and you run into this often, but people are interested in joining Forge and they say, well, I don't want to pay for another membership that I might not use that much. So how do they know if this is right for them? And to that, I say that Forge is going to be right for you if you're a person that acts on intention and with intention, because we are this community of cross-pollinators and energizers. We don't want anyone to come in here paying for something that they're not going to use, or to be in Forge as a passive person. That type of energy could bring us down. So the thing is, I challenge you to think about the different ways that you could be active. And it doesn't always mean contributing. It doesn't mean showing up in terms of in live interactions and things, because as we defined, Forge is for people regardless of the season that they're in, regardless of their personality engagement type. People get value in lots of different ways, and sometimes those interactions are in one-to-one settings versus larger groups and larger containers. So we have an onboarding experience that Robin and myself worked on earlier this year that talks about, okay, well, what are the best things about Forge, depending on if you're going to use Forge frequently, occasionally, or regularly. And you should at least come check that out during your free trial period to see if that kind of sparks something and will get you to think about things differently. So with that, we're good. We're good. I appreciate y'all for showing up. I appreciate y'all for celebrating community, what it can be, even if it's not Forge. Micro communities, small pockets, accountability, values aligned peers. Find it, get some of that in your life. Thank you for joining Brace for Impact.
And I will
go ahead.
Chime in real quick. Melanie, I just saw your post, Melanie, saying please forward this prize to someone else. So I ran the wheel again. So Lee O'Carroll will I'll be reaching out to you. So we'll be gifting you the raffle. So thank you, Melanie, for gifting that.
Okay, cool. Yep. And I appreciate that update before we got offline. Thank you, Melanie, for nominating someone else for passing it along. That is so kind of you, and we appreciate your intentionality behind that. Right. So thank you again for joining us for Brace for Impact. Why 50 plus creative rebels join Forge, and you should too. I hope I've stated my case. And giving you everything that you needed to know to make a decision for you. So, Robin, you got any last words? Are we good to go? We're good to go. All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for showing up. Robin will debrief after, but appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of the month ahead. Gates close in 3 days from now. Robin has dropped in the links. Check it out when you got a chance. Appreciate you and be well, friends.